Coming up on KVIE Art Showcase, we celebrate arts from around the world and right here at home. Discovering the art of happiness.
I truly believe that art and happiness are synonymous. Because, when people get into any kind of art form, it brings joy.
Building success through music.
What makes orchids special is its intensity. It really gives them a sense of self-worth.
Believing in song.
My message or my art is shared best when I can sing it to you.
Illustrating the underrepresented.
I didn't feel like media reflected what my interests were.
And veterans heal through the arts.
This is about mental health and healing and suicide prevention through the arts, i.e. alternate therapies.
It's all up next on KVIE Art Showcase. Meet Sacramento's Chief Officer of Happiness, Edwin Edebiri, who is spreading the art of happiness.
How are you? Now you ask me how I am. I am happy. It's an affirmation. But let me start with giving you a little background of how I became the Chief Happiness Officer. If somebody would have told me back in 2009 when this whole thing started that I would be where I am right now, I'm like, give me a break, It was the height of the recession, and you can kind of tell people around you, their mood were down, people were scared. And so I came out of meditation, which is one form of art, and I was feeling really happy. And I just went outside. I knew I couldn't do anything about the global meltdown, but I could do something about one person.
Edwin Edebiri decided instead of just offering a friendly hello, he would begin to track each person's level of happiness by asking the question, how happy are you today, on a scale of 1 to 10?
When we look at happiness as an emotion, which is what traditionally we have been taught, then you are powerless about it. It's nebulous, And I'm like, no, the human brain is way more powerful than that. So what if we look at happiness as a skill? So what we start to understand is this: if we move it just from pure emotion and say, okay, these are skills you can learn now. And even if you have to take baby steps, you can become good at it if you put the time and the effort, and if somebody come in and mentor you and coach you. So that's really what we are doing.
In 2009, Edwin launched the I Am Happy Project, an organization that focuses on spreading the art of happiness. His strategy: create monthly I Am Happy meetup events, along with school presentations, festivals, happy journals, dancing, laughing yoga, creating, and all things happy.
I truly believe that art and happiness are synonymous. Because, when people get into any kind of art form, it brings joy. And I think it's more the process. Even though they already imagine the outcome, they never know what the finished product is going to be. Sometimes it's an art form that we have forgotten, but you can learn it, and you can learn it again, and it can totally have impact on your life. When people are happy, they tend to be more creative. And so they create all kind of stuff, even if they have nothing in their mind in the beginning. So the art of happiness is just pure human endeavor. We are in 64 cities in 19 countries. So we have places like New Delhi, and Cairo right now has the largest membership of I Am Happy Project. We have over 7,000 people who are engaged with the I Am Happy Project in Cairo. We have I Am Happy Project in Cape Town in South Africa. We have in Brazil. We have in Mexico. We have in Canada. We have in Nigeria. We are in Europe, whether it's London, Paris, Rome. It's just exciting, all the different places that we are. And to know that we are connected with one mission, which is to spread happiness one person at a time.
Yeah.
In 2012, the United Nations passed a resolution making March 20th the International Day of Happiness around the world.
I hope everybody finds their happiness. Yeah.
So we've been very fortunate, the whole project, I Am Happy project, recognized at the United Nations, but when it actually happened, it was very humbling experience. And then, of course, invited to do a TED Talk, on happiness. That was also great in the process. So the I Am Happy project was the first organization. Then in 2015, I came across a study that was conducted by Harvard Business Review, that happy businesses attract 37% more customers. So that's when I started the Happy Neighborhood project for the purpose of going into businesses and creating a culture of happiness in the workplace. My goal is not to even convince people. Okay, my goal is to remind people. And yes, there are times people look at me with a glazed face. And I know in the general sense, most people will not look at art and happiness as the same. But for somebody like myself that's focused totally on happiness for these last 7 or 8 years, I see them as one and the same. So we develop an app where someone downloads the app for free and they rate themselves on a daily basis. They're going to be able to see a pattern of where they are. And when it deviates from that pattern, they know something is not right. You're going to find out that you can change your mood, but don't expect it to happen overnight. You have to be patient. Just like you said, creating a piece of art. You don't even know what the outcome is going to be, but diligently you are working on it every single day. You're pouring your sweat into it, your life into it, and then all of a sudden, the end product, people go, wow, how did that come about? I think happiness is just like that. Life is going to throw me a curveball. I have a way to receive that curveball and throw it back to life and still be happy. So find out, what is it that you really like to do? What kind of piece of art speaks to you? Is it painting? Is it drawing? Is it singing? Is it dancing? Is it photography? Is it creating? Whatever it is that speaks to you, embrace it. Use it as a tool to bring yourself to that level of happiness that you deserve. How are you? I am happy.
See how one program is changing the lives of inner city students in Baltimore, Maryland.
I seen it and I was like, wow. Like, music is fun. And so I thought to myself, like, how can I become one of them or do what they're doing?
We're using music more as a vehicle to create a future filled with possibility for these kids. And we started an after-school program with 30 kids. We're well over 1,000 kids now. We serve them meals every day. When they've needed help with homework, help with reading, we've brought in mentors and tutors.
I have 4 kids now currently in the Orchids program. It's music, music, music every day. It shows them leadership skills. It helps them academic-wise.
They taught me how to play music. Also, they showed me through hard times they'll be there and they'll always have my back. And I want to do that for other kids too.
Keith Fleming has been here since day one. He was accepted to Baltimore School for the Arts, and he'll be attending there this fall in 2016. The kids see him, and they see when he was corrected by his teachers, he didn't get defeated, he didn't shut down, he tried harder, and he did better. What makes Orchids special is its intensity. It really gives them a sense of self-worth at a very early age, that they're important, and if they stick to something and they dedicate themselves to something, they can really open some doors. Their environment already is intense. We're living in high poverty areas and broken family homes, and so to combat that, the intensity of what we're offering them, I think, is very special and unique.
Someday we'll find it, a rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
Orchids is a beautiful program. The music makes me feel free and everything. I learned how to play with my heart, read music,
This is Daphne's third year in the program. She's really focused. She's also a leader. She likes to work with her peers. The parents can really see the progression and how the kids start to internalize what it means to perform on stage, what it means to take care of your instrument and make sure that's safe.
Now that I'm 10, I've probably done like 20 performances, and sometimes I say to myself, wow, I have done that much music, I can't believe it.
And music is an incredible tool to use because music is non-judgmental. When you play a phrase on the tuba, on the violin, you're always right.
There are a lot of things that we're combating in these communities, and it's serious stuff, but we have something that we can heal them with through music.
We give them a place to go and something incredible to do. We open this whole world up to them that they can really pour all of their energy, all of their emotion, and all of their mind and soul into. Orchids, rest position. 1, 2, moving it around. Moving it, moving it, moving it around. That's like this. Good, go. That's starting to sound like something. Do you hear it? Then when we get to a performance, and they are so happy and so proud of what they're doing, and I'm incredibly proud.
I'm in the back, like, wiping away the tears, like, you know, I'm so proud of them.
You played beautifully, and I'm so proud of you, and I love that stuff.
When you grow up feeling successful, you live a successful life and a life that feels fulfilled.
Meet Houston, Texas-based singer and nurse, Christina Wells.
I am not a stranger to the dark.
I'm able to communicate things singing that I can't find words to say.
'Cause we don't want your broken heart.
Like when I was a young girl and I would have a bad day at school or someone was mean to me, I had a tape that I had made, a mixed tape of Whitney Houston and, you know, songs from Bodyguard and stuff like that. And I would sit and I would sing these songs until I felt better.
I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious.
And so singing became my coping mechanism.
When the sharpest words want to cut me down.
You know, I had been in the choir and we had gone to like all these other competitions with the choir and people would mention me.
I am brave, I am
that girl in the front on the left, she's got a voice.
This is me, look out, 'cause here I come.
And I started to let myself actually dream of it. And I started to imagine myself on Broadway and like entertaining people with my voice and my witty repartee. And this is where the infamous Astroworld audition comes in. I'm gonna go and audition for Astroworld because they were gonna do this big Motown review. And they asked me to sing Respect by Aretha Franklin. And I was young and I was brassy, and so I was like, yes, I can. And I go off and I'm wailing and doing my own thing and riffing and stuff, and I get this standing ovation from the other auditioners. And my heart lights up, and I'm like, I can sing. Well, then came the final call, and they cut me. And I had spent so much time there that week, I was so surprised. And so when they cut me, I went over to the production team, the staff, and I was like, can you tell me why you decided not to take me? Because maybe I could figure something out. And they said, we only want to have one Black female voice in this review. So we're going to combine whoever sings Aretha with Whitney. And you can't wear the clothes. You're too heavy. My feelings were deeply hurt. And I had already harbored a fear that I was too big to be a singer. And I cried and I cried and I cried. I must have cried for 2 hours. And I had decided that, okay, I'm not gonna be a singer. I'm not gonna go for people to tell me I'm fat. And I didn't sing at anything for 10 years. At the nurse's station at the hospital one day, I was like, I need a place to sing. And somebody mentioned to me this community theater in Deer Park called Art Park Players. They were looking to cast for their production of Hairspray. And that is where I learned the song, I Know Where I've Been. I was just stunned at people's reaction to me because I thought all of my shine as a singer and as a performer had like worn off, you know? And I still wasn't convinced. So the show ended and I was like, okay, and I went back to work. And then a friend of mine reached out to me and she told me about this audition for this competition downtown called Pride Superstar. Like my whole world shifted and I didn't know it was shifting. You know what I mean? I was just standing on the stage like, I hope they like this. And then they did. And then I won. And I went and recorded I Know Where I've Been as a single.
There's a light in the darkness.
America's Got Talent sees that music video.
Is black as my skin.
And I went to audition for the executive producers.
Showing me the way.
And I was on there way longer than I thought I ever would be.
But I know where I've been.
When I was on the show, I realized that we can teach people in multiple ways, but when they're being entertained at the same time, the message goes in so much deeper.
That comes from deep within.
Singing is my best form of communication. So my message or my art is shared best when I can sing it to you.
Pray the answers up ahead.
It's all connected and it's this message I want to share with the world that I've always wanted to share. And it comes from so many times that I have been shut down and told that I couldn't do things. And then you sit and you're like, but why can't I? And when someone's like, well, you know, going to school as a single mom, no. Or when I want to go to nursing school and they're like, and work, I don't think so, honey. Every time someone puts a hurdle in front of me, I'm like, what do you mean? Why can't I do it? And so now that I have anyone's attention, that's what I want to say to them. If you believe you can and you have the confidence, you can.
I give thanks to my God, 'cause I know where I've
Lisa Kirk is a Reno, Nevada-based artist who uses her dreamlike drawings to tell the stories that involve people, animals, and nature.
My name is Lisa Kurt, and I'm an artist and an illustrator. Primarily, I paint. I do some mixed media work. I paint primarily in acrylic paint, though I do use gouache and watercolor as well. And the focus of my work is mostly narrative illustration, narrative art. The way that I paint is I first start with an approach like how maybe a feeling that I'm thinking of, like melancholy or specific situation or something from childhood, a memory perhaps, or a story of some kind. And it could be my own life, it might be in someone else's, it could be something I read, who knows. But as I'm painting and as I'm creating that work, other pieces kind of come together, and so there are allegories and sort of metaphors that make their way in and weave their way into my work. So nothing is as it seems in a way, and so there's always going to be more to the story, and I don't get very specific in the way that I create that narrative. Narrative art really is storytelling and conveying a story, and it could be a number of things. So for example, children's books is one primary way. Something that has inspired me in recent years has been this sense of responsibility that we want to show more diversity in books, whether it's female or someone from a different background, heritage, or someone of color. I think that that really kind of struck me. because being a girl as a kid, I played in the woods and I was an adventurer and I, did anything that a little boy would do, and I felt like I was a pretty well-rounded kid and interested in a lot of things, but I didn't always really feel like media reflected what my interests were, and that's really frustrating to feel like you don't see yourself. So this whole idea of diverse books, I think, is super important, and I started to really integrate more diverse characters, specifically girls, into my work, into my personal work, and thinking about what their stories would be. I recently published my first children's book, and the title is called Sarla in the Sky. And it's a book that's based on Sarla Thakral, who was the first Indian woman pilot. Sarla's story is really fascinating because it was at a time when this was just so unusual, like for women to be pilots really at all, while maybe the greater public and maybe other people were sort of like, that's just not something women do. And it's just super uplifting, and I know as a kid I would have loved a story like that. I think it's extremely important for kids to be exposed to all kinds of art, and whether that's music or visual art or performance or whatever it is, the more you're exposed to, I think, gosh, like the more richer and more interesting your world is going to be.
The veterans in Tampa Bay, Florida are on a mission to heal.
I'm Mac Maxim, and I'm a United States Army retired major, and I am the founder and executive director for the Veterans Arts Center Tampa Bay. This is Florida's first center, and is dedicated for our military, veterans, first responders, and families. And we provide therapy, healing, wellness, and educational programming. When I started the program at USF St. Petersburg, I thought, where is there a place for military and veteran artists? There has to be military artists and veteran artists out there. And so since 2014, we started the programs, we started the foundation of the Veterans Arts Center Tampa Bay. And this is about mental health and healing and suicide prevention through the arts, i.e. alternate therapies. We currently have 10 programs right now, and we're growing. We're doing things like Veteran Art Boot Camp, how to do drawing. Last year we done a program called Amplify, where we brought in 8 veterans. Together they created lyrics, a song, and a production, and a performance called Coming Together.
I don't sing, I don't play any instruments, I don't dance, but I thought, well, why not? So we came together and we wrote a song and we made a music video. It was just enjoyable to do something completely out of my comfort zone.
While I was in the service years ago, while we were waiting around for to be assigned to an aircraft to go out on our various patrols, I started sketching fellow pilots as they were sitting around the table ready to go. And during the sketching, I would occasionally throw one in the basket, and the pilot would jump it over and say, "Don't do that, Pete. I want to send that home to my mother." It's enjoyable. I find it in art because it relaxes you. It keeps your mind off your personal problems and your physical problems better than taking any of the opioids or pain relievers that are present on the market today.
Since 2017, we've reached out to 332 veterans, military and first responders, and now we have prevented 2 suicides. So we're very, very quietly doing things. We partnered with the Veterans History Project with the Library of Congress. And today we are recording 9 stories of veterans from World War II to today. And they are being interviewed by volunteers, and this has been a really, really special day. For me, I think this is a very powerful day.
I was just getting out of high school, and with my social background, so to speak, my race, I was headed straight for a rice paddy in Vietnam. Didn't do any of that. This is what I did in the military. I played in units with people from all over the world, but we all speak the same language, which is music.
So we're doing various things through the arts. We're growing, we're gathering the data, the surveys, the testimonials that the arts is therapeutic, healing, wellness, and add a little bit of a unique niche for Tampa Bay. We have funded the center through individual contributions and individual fundraisers that we've had, because we're not in the art sales business, but I give everybody the stage, the opportunity to show, to sell their artwork, and to bring the community together through this thing called art and the power of art.
Working in the veteran community is very different than when you're working with civilians. So like there's a certain type of attitude and like just sort of care that you need to have when you're working with that kind of community, because you don't know what they've been through, you don't know how sensitive they are, and when it comes to art, it's super personal. So I think that was the big lesson for me, is that whatever they have here, it's from their heart.
I think that it depends on who comes in. May it be female vets who've been sexually assaulted, or Vietnam vets, or Korea vets, or OEF and OEF veterans. It all depends, and first responders too.
I'm more crafty than artsy. I do jewelry, I do wooden work, leather work, stuff like that. Made these. Patriotic angel earrings. It's therapeutic actually for everybody. You got to get away from your TV and your video games and your telephones and use your creative mind. It takes your mind off your pain, it takes your mind off your past. It helps you take your mind off of the bad stuff that's going on.
Episodes of KVIE Art Showcase, along with other KVIE programs, are available to watch online at kvie.org/video.